Okay, I'll call this common council meeting for the month of June to order. Would you please rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, call roll, please.
Chapman.
Here.
Evans.
Here.
Moody.
Here.
Justman.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Rungy.
Here. First item of business is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Motion by Foodie,
Second.
second by Chapman. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approved minutes of previous meetings. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion by Foodie, second by Chapman. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approved minutes of intervening meetings. Motion by Justman,
Second.
second by Foodie. Any further discussion on those? Seeing none?
Yeah, I can't get it. That's home down a lot better than what home is.
Technical difficulties. Those pause.
There you go.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Automation.
I'll
Great.
talk to Ginny about that.
Yeah. I never know where home is.
You got your first and your second?
No, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, I got Justman and Foodie.
Correct.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we have public comment regarding agenda items. We have Mr. Mike Lodell here from Worcester Automatic Pet Care Products. Do you wish to address it at the time we get to in the meeting, Michael?
Hi, how are you guys?
You don't have anything to say publicly right now?
I don't have anything to say publicly. I'm here to answer questions and
Very good. We'll pick it up underneath the CDA report.
great.
Okay. Next we've got communications. Any communications?
I don't have any.
I don't have any either. Or either. Approved payments of bills, checks for $618,360.48. Electronic transfers of $227,319.61. Is there a motion to approve the payment of bills?
So moved.
Motion by Chapman, second by Rungy. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Chapman.
Aye.
Rungy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Foodie.
Aye.
Justman.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Payment of bills has been approved. Next, we got reports of officials. Mayor, Resolution 2125, approved mayoral appointments. Whereas the mayor has diligently searched for individuals willing to give up themselves by serving on the library board and recreation committee. And whereas the mayor wishes to make the following appointment: library board, Rosemary Schmans, her term will end on July 2028. Recreation committee, Kara Ernstead, her term will end on June 2028. Recreation committee, Jessica Nails Rennock, her term will run till August 2027. And now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of June 2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve. 25.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Justman, second by Evans. Any further discussion? The first two, Rosemary Schman and Kara Ernstead, they're re-ups. Rosemary's been on for many, many years on the library board. In fact, as long as I've been mayor. And Kara, I think she's in her probably fourth year, or at least on the recreation committee. She does a very good job. And Jessica Nails Rennock reached out to me and when she heard of a vacancy on the rec committee, wishing to be considered for that post, which I have decided to appoint her to. So she's got 3 children, lives in town, and I think she'll be a good member. No other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Justin.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Chapman.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Darby.
Aye.
Resolution 2025 is approved. Clerk treasurer.
I just wanna give you guys kind of an update of what's been going on. The auditors are coming to council July, August. Still haven't gotten their final stuff complete yet for me. But they will be here to give a report. The storm damage insurance claim that we have running, City Hall has some siding and roof damage. Obviously, the electric substation, we have mutual aid costs that we're gonna be submitting, so hopefully it covers that. The tornado siren, the Wild Goose Park bathrooms, trees, there's about 6 that we'll be getting $500 each for. So it was any tree that was within 100 feet of an insured building, not playground. So there were, I think, 36 trees out in Wild Goose Park that we lost, and only 4 are covered by insurance. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that. The stop signs, street signs that we lost, potentially could be covered, bleachers and soccer goals. So, I'm waiting on estimates for our buildings yet, but we have a $5,000 deductible. But I will give you more information once I have it. I just wanted to give you an idea of what we were looking at. The library as well, is gonna be checked out, by the contractor too, so I'll give you an update when I have it. I got all of my mutual aid invoices in, so including electric and DPW. I paid today and I paid what I could for replacing the fence at the substation and a lot of those kind of accessories for the electric. And I paid out today like $212,000. So that's all, additional costs that, we weren't expecting. So just wanted to give you guys kind of a hard number on that, but Nick and Joe have been great with getting me information as needed. Tomorrow I'm giving the county my estimate of what the costs are, and then within this next month, I'll see if I can get any money back from the Wisconsin Disaster Fund. But the governor did not declare it a disaster, so we won't be getting any money from FEMA.
Shame we lost all those windows in the library.
Yeah, so that's what I have so far.
Any questions for the clerk? See none? Move on to written reports. Building permit report, police department report, Juneau fire and rescue report, and Juneau EMS report. Any questions on any of those? None? We'll move on to reports of committees, commissions, and boards. Library report. Connie?
Yes, we do have our winter project underway, not storm related, but it is odd timing. So it's a little noisy there, but they're moving along, not quite as quickly as they had thought, but it's coming together. We've also kicked off our summer enrichment reading program. We currently have 140 people signed up for those reading challenges. We've booked 5 guest performers or guest speakers, and then our staff is adding 13 additional art-focused, reading-focused programs to the regular rotation. So it's a busy, fun summer. I'm pretty pleased with how the reading challenges and everything kind of tied together in this cohesive theme. So I'm pretty excited about following that through the end of July. And we also have 3 community art projects going on site where people can contribute some part of the project, and then we'll display it in the library for the rest of the year. And that's really all we're doing for summer. It's a lot, but it's going to be fun. I have calendars if anyone wants to see more details. I'll leave them with Megan.
Thank you, Connie. Any questions for our library director? Seeing none, we'll move on to plan commission. Troy?
So we talked about amending ordinance 17.08.420B-2 Central Business District Additional Use Permit. There were 14 different types of uses. We voted to get rid of line K, adult entertainment. So that will be read in. Discussed creating an ordinance for certificates of occupancy. Apparently people are buying buildings and running businesses or whatever they want in it, but really don't get them checked out to see if they can do it. It might be a building code thing, or I guess on East Oak Street, they're not living quarters on the first level. Someone was trying to put a bathroom in, so I think the building inspector saw that or something, so basically want to make sure if somebody's using the building, you kind of know what it's for. Create an ordinance for time restrictions to repair or remove fire damaged properties. We all know the one on South Fairfield's that for a while. There's one on Main Street. We talked for basically had 120 days to repair or remove. I think that's a good timeline, especially like if something happened early spring, trying to get an excavator out there or something, they're pretty booked up, so we kind of went with 120 days for that. And then we discussed the land division letter for Steve Gens out on Highway W, and that was approved and sent to the county. And then we went over some property maintenance updates. Some of them are weeds. I think that's probably gonna go to the weed committee. And then talk about notifying on Facebook page on the police department, making sure that grass clippings, there were a bunch blown on the road, making sure that that was being cleaned up and enforced. And that's about it.
Troy report? Any questions for Troy? Just to shore up one of them that he had there, we did issue a raise order for the burnt house on North Main Street. That I think we're gonna have to turn over to the city attorney for review. That fire was in middle of December. So here we are, already 6 months into it, so it's how fast 6 months can fly by. We have to have something in our books to keep this from happening again, you know, that burnt out duplex.
Uninsured, that they're not getting taken care of very well, or?
You never know what they do. The building inspector cited a state ordinance or state building code that if it exceeds 50% of the worth of the property, this property wasn't worth a whole lot, but with the way pricing costs of everything are, who's to argue it's not worth $100,000, whatever, but there's certainly more than $50,000 worth of damage there on that property. I guess we could go by current assessment on what the fair market value would be or whatever, but one thing the committee had questioned is who makes that decision? Who makes the dollar evaluation of what the property is worth? Is it the insurance company that's paying out or
Usually it's the insurance company.
we didn't know
But if
we
there
had
was
what
no
it was
insurance
assessed
on
at.
it, then you have to go a different route.
And I couldn't answer that, Doug, if it's got insurance or not.
Alright.
I know that he's already gotten payment for the house. He's from his insurance company. So kind of what we need to speak about later is, he wants to sell the house to a prospective buyer, I think for like $14,000-15,000, and that person wants to then, you know, renovate this house. So that's a whole different issue. But I know that he has gotten his insurance payment.
I suppose he has every right to do that, but for the benefit of that neighborhood up there, that house should be leveled and the lot divvied up between the two abutting property owners. At
But
least
we
they'd
have
have
a
some room.
raise order that's out there, so I mean, are we gonna allow it to sell? You know,
Yeah.
that's what we need to do.
That's where we need some legal opinion on that.
Sure, we can help you.
So,
All right, any other?
we just needed to read the ordinance on the first reading.
All right, ordinance 274-2025. Ordinance to amend City of Juneau ordinances 17.08.420-B-2 Central Business District Conditional Uses. The Common Council of City of Juneau ordains to amend ordinance 17.08.420 to read as follows. The following use may be permitted after review and approval by the City Plan Commission. A, indoor institutional per section 17.09.05 C3. B, outdoor institutional per section 17.09.050 C4. C, institutional residential development per section 17.09.050 C6. D, drive-in sales and service per section 17.09.50 D7. E, indoor commercial entertainment per section 17.09.050 D8. F, outdoor commercial entertainment per section 17.09.050 D9. G, commercial indoor lodging per section 17.09.050 D11. H, bed and breakfast establishments per section 17.09.050 D12. I, group daycare center, 9 or more children per section 17.09.050 D13. J, clear cutting per section 17.09.050 B7. K, artisan production shop per section 17.09.50 D19. L, cultivation, reestablished or newly established per section 17.09.050 B1. M, community garden per section 17.09.050 B9. N, market garden for section 17.09.050 B10. All group and large developments are subject to a conditional use permit per section 17.09.060, ordinance 90-2004, part ordinance 82-2003, part ordinance 78-2003, prior code subsection 10-4-73. Ordinance number 170-2009, subsection 53, 10-22-2009. Ordinance number 183-2009, subsection 53, 4-13-2010. Ordinance number 186-2010, subsection 19, 8-26-2010. Section 17.08.420 B2 Central Business District Conditional Uses is hereby amended. First reading, June 10th, 2025.
Very good, seeing how this is the first reading, you'll be voting on this next month.
I have a question on this. I guess, why are we getting rid of this?
The adult entertainment.
Yeah, we have none. And if you go back, if I remember correctly, this was, I can't remember when it was put in, but that was it was put in as a deterrent because we didn't have any before. And we got sued. We lost about $80,000 to $100,000 in court with all the proceedings. And this was put in to make sure that we had control over if anybody else was gonna come in and, put in a adult entertainment establishment again. And I guess I didn't understand why we're taking this out. At the time it was me, it was put in there, you paid a lot of money to have this drawn up and put in there many, many years ago. When that was before Silk, what was the other place? It was the bowling alley.
We have a whole section 17 adult entertainment establishments. And then,
permitted use.
Conditional use.
So what's that?
Right, these are the ones that you need a conditional use permit for, is what this is.
Yeah, and we have a whole section 17 upon.
And that predated maybe the last.
Yeah, I think that was so.
I think this is what we paid for was this section, the separate section.
I don't remember exactly, but it was, I can remember parts of what's written in here was in what we had
And what
done
they're,
way back then.
and what they're omitting is just that section in the conditional uses.
You no longer can get a conditional use permit to operate this type of business.
These
since
businesses
it's
are
not
now
on the
regulated under
list.
section 17.
And that doesn't put you in the face of the
Right.
lawsuit.
Back in the day when you were on the council at that time, Jim, I don't think we had anything on the books that addressed, adult entertainment.
Right, we did,
So,
and that's why all these, everything was,
right, there is a
was
separate,
all done.
yeah, there is a separate ordinance covering all of that. But this would eliminate the ability to be able to obtain a conditional use permit to do that, if I'm
Exactly.
understanding right.
Okay.
Which is a good move to eliminate the ability to get a conditional use permit.
So we're still,
So essentially,
Now
it's
you're
not
just
allowed
relying-
now.
You're just relying on your ordinance that you have.
Right,
Okay.
all right,
finance.
okay.
Right. Unfortunately, right now, you're gone past that, you no longer have adult entertainment.
Right.
And again, this will be read again, or, well, you can
Second.
omit reading it next month since you read it in full this month, but you did such a good job, we might want you to read it again.
Well, Jim had to read all those
Yeah.
for the,
Yeah, whatever.
assessments.
Yeah.
Like every property, I'm like.
You did a good
like, if
job.
I read it now,
Nope, you did a good job.
right?
You did a good job, you presented a good report for the first time.
I think we have any, I think we should, if you have any more long stuff like that, we should let him do it.
There you go.
All right, moving on to
Any other questions for Plan Commission? Seeing none, move on to Finance. Richard,
We didn't have a meeting this month.
nothing to report? Nothing to report from the clerk? Nope.
Not at this point.
Personnel Committee,
We didn't have a meeting this month.
but we do have.
But we do have a second reading of an ordinance. See if I can find it. Just to review this ordinance, section A, which is highlighted, makes the scheduling of our common council meetings will be scheduled on the organizational meeting each year rather than by ordinance at 7 o'clock, so it could be changed to 6:30 or 7 or whatever the whims of the common council are. And section B, basically it used to say special meetings, I think it says emergency meetings now, so it's just a verbiage thing. So having said that, if everybody wants me to, I'll read it again.
dispense with the second reading.
I'll second that.
Motion to dispense with the second reading
And adopt.
and adopt. Motion by Foodie, second by Rungy. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ordinance 273-2025 is passed. Anything else
We
for?
just had a motion to
Dispense.
the second reading, but we still have to have.
I said dispense and adopt.
And adopt.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
That's okay.
So we did that last month, we did it twice there because we
Yeah.
didn't have that and to move to vote and adopt, okay. So that is passed, resolution 273-2025 is passed. Anything else from personnel, Dick?
No.
Public safety, Jane?
We did have a special meeting tonight to review the layout of the 1850 Sidewalk Cafe. And we also approved all the beer, alcohol, tobacco, and electronic vaping device, and I do have a resolution in to read. As soon as it goes there. Okay, resolution 22-2025, approved to grant beer and liquor licenses. Whereas the city of Juneau has received applications from the following to sell malt beverages and sell liquor with a period ending date June 30th, 2026, as shown below. Class A beer applying as a limited liability company, Dollar General Store number 6775, Dollar Gen LLC, 331 East Center Street, Juneau, Wisconsin 53039. The agent is Emmanuel Agnine. Agent address 3029 Maple Valley, apartment 304, Madison, Wisconsin, 53719. Class A beer and liquor applying as limited liability company, Piggly Wiggly, number 304, Yankee Piggly Wiggly, number 304, 100 Southwestern Avenue, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent is Daniel Yankee. Agent address 329 East North Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class A beer and liquor applying as a limited liability company, Juneau Shell, BMS Mart LLC, 470 North Main Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent is Shiva Sapkata. Agent address 214B North Main Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class A beer, Class A liquor, cider only, applying as a corporation, Quick Trip number 324, Quick Trip Inc., 210 South Main Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent is Derek Patlowski. Agent address 1616 Randolph Street, Watertown, Wisconsin, 53094. Class B beer and liquor applying as a limited liability company, the 1850s Inn LLC, 1850s Inn LLC, 172 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Christina Saramet. Agent address 532 North Lincoln Avenue, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, 53916. Juneau Lanes LLC, Juneau Lanes LLC, 150 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent is Don Renning. Agent address is 372 North Depot Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Chef Chance LLC, Chef Chance LLC, 500 Lincoln Drive, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent is Chan Schomburg. Agent address 1226 Hiawatha Drive, Beaver Dam, 53916. Rolling Stone Pizza Pub LLC, Rolling Stone Pizza Pub LLC, 153 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Tamara Christensen. Agent address 103 Leonard Avenue, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class B beer and liquor apply as partnership, Simple Bar and Grill, 170 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class B beer and liquor applying as corporation, nonprofit organization, Juneau American Legion, Juneau Post number 15 at the American Legion Post of Department of Wisconsin. Agent Jeremy Mason, 162 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent address is N6566 Weber View Drive, Iron Ridge, Wisconsin, 53035. Whereas this notice was published in the Watertown Daily Times with 3 consecutive publications, and whereas the Public Safety Committee and the Juneau Police Department have reviewed the above and both recommend the approval of these applications pending compliance with ordinance 5.08040, and now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of June 2025. I move to approve resolution number 22, 2025.
I'll second that.
Motion by Foodie, second by Runge. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Foodie?
Aye.
Runge?
I except for an abstain for Chan Schomburg.
Chapman?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Justin?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Resolution 2022-2025 is passed. Anything else from public safety?
Can you review what you decided with,
The sidewalk cafe?
yes?
Okay, the sidewalk cafe, we decided to, that they are not able to use the bump out, that they keep the 5-foot clearance and no fence.
Is that that's what
That's what
the original pilot program laid out, right?
Original pilot program required a fence around their extension of
Oh,
grounds.
okay, so we're not going.
We're not going with the fence because of how the sidewalk is set up.
I don't know if
And
that-
it's something-
It's gotta go back to planning commission for that.
We're going to monitor it right now to see how it goes, I guess.
What were they wanting?
They are currently out in the bump out. And what we said tonight, the Public Safety Committee as a whole decided to not include the bump out. And to continue monitoring where it is, because like Mr. Evans said, is that, they should have a fence around it. But we'll monitor it, see how it goes. And that's why it's a pilot program, we'll continue to tweak it as we go along.
Can we do that? I'm just-
That's why we haven't
I
codified
had
it
to go
as.
back to the planning commission.
Nope, this was just decided tonight, done in
And
impromptu.
you are right, it does have that in the pilot program, that the public safety reviews it, the planning commission
Right.
reviews it, and then it goes to council.
I think you ought to follow that.
So I guess put that on the agenda for the next plan commission to review the elimination of the fence.
Okay.
But I think it's clear as mud that we didn't intend them to allow them to go past that 5-foot straight line off the curb and invade the bump out. I mean, I said I personally had no problem with them setting up chairs out there, but how do you corral the crowd when you've got some people inside the extension of premise next to the building, then walking 5 feet across and using the bump out? I don't think you got any way to control it.
They actually gained a couple of feet
Yes.
because the sidewalk is wider now.
Right.
We did. Yes, okay, well, thanks.
There's my no, right?
Good.
Okay.
All right, Public Works, James.
All right, Public Works. Right there it is, okay. Okay, we met on the 28th, and that was obviously after the tornado, and, you know, I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. The first thing we discussed about, after, before ever you started getting to the tornado stuff, was about the possibility regarding the fluoride in water. We discussed some of the options. There's been a lot of evidence on both sides, and we asked all the members of the committee to do some research and bring us back some ideas if we should get rid of the artificial fluoride that's put into our water. We already have a natural fluoride in our water, it's about 0.04%. Well, actually, we didn't take any action at the time, we're still working on it. Joe had had them televise some of the sewers along East Oak Grove Street where the projects are. He found several areas that really need to be addressed. There was a major plug up by the Quick Trip and Main Street. There were some areas that are with cracks and are broken areas that needs to be fixed. And there were some parts that were just pretty well destroyed over the years. There's plastic inside the pump, and so Joe was looking to get estimates, and he's going to bring that back to the committee to get that replaced. And he's probably going to. Do you know if he got the? He didn't say anything to me today about getting the jet out of the yesterday. Huh?
They were up there today.
They were up there today. Okay.
Sure. And whether they were jetting or doing more televising, I couldn't tell you, but they were right down.
Well, the stuff that they had that they tried jetting out, they couldn't get the stuff out, so now they're talking about getting some, I guess, a bigger jet or something in there and hopefully get that plug done. So, yeah. He's gonna get some estimates on the other broken parts and get back to the committee. Because of some of the project costs increasing that's happened this year and some of the money, other items we've got to do, excuse me. Joe's got the summer projects, the road projects coming up, and we kind of told him to do what he can do with them. Some of these might not get done this year, even though they were budgeted. And that is just because we had other things. We had Mill Street. We've got to get the jetty done. We're going to have to get the obviously the Ford to Oak Grove Street. We got to get the sewers fixed, the storm sewers. So he's going to have a proposal for all this pretty soon. Joe informed the committee that one of the welcome to Juneau signs was destroyed by the storm, and the city should replace it. It needs to get replaced. It can't be fixed up much anymore. And I guess you look at those signs you drive by, they don't look that old, but I guess they are pretty darn old, and they're kind of falling apart. So, what was agreed upon is that they're going to look for some donations from the local businesses or people that might want to put up the welcome to Juneau sign again. And so then I guess they're gonna set up something, I know I won't be there next month. These two gentlemen will probably run the meeting if we need one, because I'll be gone. We discussed about the, soccer field in the Wild Goose Park. And there was I'm not that familiar with it, and I really don't know a damn thing about soccer, to be honest with you. And
They have good lungs.
huh? Yeah, you have to be able to run a lot, okay, I understand that, that's about it. But I,
Black and white ball.
yeah, but they're talking about turning the two fields the opposite way so they can get two bigger fields in there. And where there's a concrete pad down there where was possibly somebody, or the city next year would build a shed for the equipment down there. Would make the one full-size field, and the other one would be more acceptable to the dimensions minimum dimensions. We are into that now on the second field. So that would not have to have any more trees removed. And if we left them the way they were and did some other things, we'd have to cut down the two remaining trees of all the ones that were down there. The only two that were in the way of doing the original plan were the only two that didn't get knocked down by the tornado. So, this way we could save a couple trees. And we had a pretty good discussion on an update on storm damage. And for the most part, the response and the cleanup went really, really well. I heard from a couple of different areas now. We did have some communication problems, and we had cell towers were out, and some of our communication wasn't sufficient for what we needed. And it's from 9/11 on, this is a common thing, and I was in EMS 25 years, it's a pretty common problem. And I think I was gonna talk to Dave Beal, who kind of ran out of time, but we should really think of getting some longer and better range radios for at least the department heads in case of emergencies. A little higher. I don't know how frequencies run, and now if it's higher frequency, or if there is some newer frequencies. I know that the federal government had outlined years ago that you can get some more high power radios and get for that you have a better communication system. Joe's done a good assessment of what we need, and I think he's turned everything into you, Megan, so far. And so there's some cleanup left to do, but most of it is pretty well done. And I have gotten nothing but compliments on everybody that was out there, not just Public Works, but from every department, the electrical department. Joe worked his tail off out there. He was out there way too long. He really should have taken us some more rests in there. But that's really about it. But everybody did a tremendous job during that, and I can't say enough. There's one more thing. Joe has taken some of the pictures of the plot maps and is working on Megan to get the cemetery brochure up here. We have we have other things, but the big map that we have is everybody's name is on, buried there, and who owns those. They're all one, but we don't have copies of it. So Joel took pictures of it, so at least we have pictures of what these are, who's buried where. And, it could be a problem sometime in the future, you never know. And I asked him if there was anything that he knew of, so I contacted a relative of mine who happens to be a funeral director, and he asked him to look into some of the cemeteries that he visits occasionally and see what they had. If there's some kind of program that, you would think with all these big cemeteries, there's gotta be a program somewhere that they would be able to take that and set it on there, and you'd be able to keep better track of who's where and what's sold and what's not sold. And, if you think about it, if the tornado hits the Public Works Department, we wouldn't know where everybody was buried. And that obviously could be a problem. So the only thing that Joe really had was the dumpster's always still been extended for storm cleanup. We've had a few people who have obviously dumped non-storm stuff into the dumpsters. But I guess you're not gonna, inevitably, you have something like this, that's just gonna happen. So, and you take it with a grain of salt. And Joe reported on this update on Oak Street. The community center has a leak from the storm. I don't know if
It's been fixed.
it has been fixed?
Yep.
Okay, all right. And he would like to be put under personnel to address the DPW having to pay lunch. I guess that was not included in the last thing, so that we passed, so. And that's about it. It was a long meeting, much too long, and like I said, I will be there, and if we do need a meeting, these two young gentlemen will be more than happy to handle it.
Any questions for Public Works? So none. Cable. Okay.
Cable TV met May 12th. We discussed the future of cable TV. Discussed the repurposing cable TV equipment. We reviewed funding challenges, equipment challenges, as the equipment is just getting older. We continue to work on the OWL project and the reliance on video submissions by community members. And then last night we had a meeting, but we had no quorum. So we will be meeting July 14th for our next cable TV.
Any questions for me? Moving on, CDA. Doug, handle that one?
Sure. We met with Whiskers, discussed the possible take action to selling them the land. They made an offer of $12,000 per acre, and I believe it's 4.9 acres, 4.7. They agreed to pay all closing costs, up to $500 of city's legal fees. And the motion was carried 5-0 to 1. And I guess that's about it. Set the time for the next one.
Guess I'll introduce Mike Lodell. He's from Whisker. I always like to have people like him before we decide on granting anything. We'd like to have him introduce himself to the complete committee and give a little history of what Whiskers accomplished since they've become a real factor in our community. So, Michael?
So for those of you that I haven't met, and I know a couple of you, I'm Mike Lodell. I'm the Director of Operations over at Whisker. I've been with the company for about 1.5 years. In that time, obviously, we've been biggering a little bit. And obviously, over a little bit longer stretch, maybe from 2019, we've biggered a lot, adding on multiple sections to our plant. This last year, we bought Alltech. We're using that plant right now for extra office space and some manufacturing space that we're setting up right now. And we're looking to purchase the land across the street. In the very short term, we're looking at it from a parking standpoint. One, to make sure that we could have adequate parking for the number of people that we have. Also knowing that we are going to be growing in Q3, Q4, and trying to bring in about, I'd say, another 100+ employees. So the parking would be very much needed. Another reason just is from a safety factor. Chief Beal and I have talked on a couple of occasions with folks that are parking out on the street. We will be able to have an option for them to be off of the street and into private parking area for them. Longer term, that might be a great spot to put up another building, an outbuilding of some sort for materials or finished goods or something like that. Not determined yet, not in our immediate plans for this year. The parking is really the big thing that we're going after in 2025.
Whisker or Automatic Pet Care Products went into
about a year and a half ago, they inquired about these two lots and did enter into a right of first refusal, and they're looking to execute on it right now. I guess you're gonna have to explain to the committee about the Royal Oaks accusation, or how this works with
Sure.
the original pioneer, Brad Baxter, and
Yep. So Whisker used to own all the property. Brad, our founder, bought everything. We've entered into an agreement with a company called Royal Oak. What they do is a lease buyback. So essentially, we lease from them and they buy the property from us. So we do that both here for the Altech property that we bought and the main factory. And then over in Michigan, our headquarters, we do that also with them. So they're kind of like our landlord, and it's given us opportunity to take some of that cash and invest it into R&D and into new products and into all this other stuff, and only have to worry about the lease that we paid to them. So they're our landlord property partner, essentially.
Do they own the building or just the land?
They own the building. Yeah.
Okay. And you own the land, you own the land? and
I think they own the whole kit and caboodle.
They own, okay, all right, so it's basically, okay, I know what you're talking about. Sure. Like most supermarkets are that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, I think McDonald's are all like that too.
Yeah.
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 tax benefit.
Yep.
So the parking, is that gonna get people off the street?
Yep, so that's the plan is to put the parking in. I can't remember exactly how many slots now. I wanna say it's like 125. It might be 145, I might be 20 off. But that's what we're looking at. Essentially, it'd be like a 2-strip thing of parking, so you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of cars in there. We would ask our people not to park on the street any longer. At the request of both the city and the police department, we are going to also install a smoking solution into that parking lot. So there'll be a smoking solution on the corner with some sort of receptacles and whatever to keep cigarette butts at bay.
Is there gonna be lighted?
Yes, we'll do lighting. Right now we're looking at some sort of solar lighting plan to put in through there. But we got people coming at 5 something in the morning, we have people leaving at 11:30 at night. We wanna make sure that it's a safe environment for them to get to and from their car.
How many employees does Whisker have right now?
Oh boy, currently I believe we have around 385 if I remember correctly. That number tends to go up in like Q3 and Q4 as we're getting ready for our holiday. So last year we maxed out at about 435. So that'll go up, but then also we've got some new things in the works and some things that we're adding in. So we're going to be adding in permanent employees that are going to need to be there all year long. I've already started hiring for them. So our first crop came in last week. So.
Any other questions?
I just wanna note one thing, that there was a difference from the right of first refusal price compared to what was offered. So, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that. So originally there was a different right of first refusal amount, and then just wanted to note it.
Yep, that was discussed at plan commission as well, it was questioned. And just economics, I guess.
It is economics. Obviously, right now we're trying to expand and bring in people. We're outlaying quite a bit of cash to do that. Tooling across lots of companies that we're buying all these giant, massive tooling things from have gone from the original price that we quoted to now coming into the United States at a much higher tariff rate. In addition, in putting in a smoking solution on the other side of the street, that is going to be a portion of money that we're going to have to both buy and install. So we're looking to bring that number from 14 down to 12 to recoup some of those costs.
Is there gonna be parking on the street at all?
Right now, we do have the street mapped out, right? There are spots that you can't park. This is the city, more of the city.
People coming out in between parked cars and everything and getting hit.
Sure. While I can't tell people to not park on the street, but I can strongly encourage them to be parking in our lots. And that's what we plan on doing. So,
What is the projected number of cars in the lots?
like that I have right now.
Yeah, the one that you're buying, you're already.
Yeah, I can't remember right now if the new number of slots is 125 or 145 slots that we'll be putting in.
Thank you.
And
So-
that would bring them into city compliance, city ordinance compliance for off-street parking that they're required for the number of employees that they presently have. And I'm not sure that a buffer must be, but presently they're, just so everybody knows, they're in violation. They don't have enough off-street parking for the number of employees that they employ right now. So
Yep.
this should bring them into compliance and give them some help for the future. Any other questions? If not, Doug, you can read the resolution, please.
Did it shut down?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I think this is a resolution 23, 2025.
Correct.
Approved purchase agreement with the City of Juneau Development Authority, Royal Oaks Equations. Whereas the Community Development Authority has received a request from Royal Oak Equations LLC to purchase parcel number 241-1115-2811-020 and parcel number 241-1115-2812-012 located in the City of Juneau. And whereas the Community Development Authority recommends offering Royal Oak Equations a purchase price of $56,652 for the two parcels totaling 4.72 acres. And whereas the Community Development Authority recommends Royal Oak Equations LLC pay all closing costs and up to $500 to all legal costs the City of Juneau may endure. And whereas the Community Development Authority recommends approval and the option to purchase with the agreement shown in Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council in the City of Juneau this 10th day of June 2025.
Second.
You move for it?
I thought you said.
Yeah, I'll motion for this.
Motion by Lee, second by Foodie. Any further discussion? Pass the city attorney. Do you have a chance to read it?
I have, now, you still should get a formal offer to purchase after this, but
I believe there is a formal
I think
offer
there
to
is.
purchase.
There's one somewhere, isn't
Yep, and I believe the date on that is Thursday.
okay.
There's a couple days to take care of anything after this
The
meeting.
9th is the That's not a,
That's not our.
what I saw is that, yeah, this is what I saw dated May 9th. Do you have an actual formal offer to purchase, or is it just that letter dated May 9th?
I believe is that the new one that's, the new letter that came out that was with the changes that you had requested, Mayor?
What's the date on this?
This one's dated May 9th.
I believe there was something that came out afterwards with the changes that you requested, and we extended the date out to
Yes, because you.
Thursday so that you had some time to take care of what you needed to take care of on your end.
Megan, you know what
I remember the email that he's speaking of, but that's what I'm trying to find right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
what-
with
what
the
it
also
came
looking-
from.
This is like the offer by
Yeah.
May 16th.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's the old one.
Because their offer would have been.
I went from May
The deadline
9th.
would have been prior to this council meeting, so they had to change it to, extend it to like Thursday. That didn't give you much time to
Well,
review.
there's one from May 20th,
May 20th you have?
but it's still dated May 9th. I have the email from May 20th. But the land acquisition is just what you're looking at, it's dated May 9th.
Okay. My suggestion would be, I don't have a problem with the terms of the May 9th letter, but I would like to see it reduced to a formal Wisconsin offer to purchase. Be better, because the language in there better protects the city and really better protects both parties.
Okay.
But as far as the terms expressed in.
So can we pass this tonight contingent upon your review and approval?
Yes.
Is that okay with Doug and Jane?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you give me the verbiage that you just said again so that I can get the right thing sent over?
So a formal written offer to purchase, a formal Wisconsin, this is all vacant land, correct?
Yes.
Vacant land offer to purchase. Because in that vacant land offer to purchase form, there's language that better protects both parties. But basically what you have in the letter can go into that offer to purchase. In other words, the salient terms would be the purchase price would be $56,652. It's a cash offer. Looks like you're putting down $5,000 of earnest money. There's certain language that you have the right to have an inspection within 90 days. Closing would be within 15 days after that inspection period is over. So all of that's fine, it just should be incorporated into the formal offer to purchase. You've even identified the title company you would use, Chicago Title. Interestingly, you have a title company out of San Antonio, Texas. There's a Chicago Title that's local in Waukesha, that's more local in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I don't know why you wouldn't use Chicago Title in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I think is more familiar with Wisconsin property than Chicago Title in Texas. You could even use, there's title companies in Dodge County that are closer than that.
Unfortunately, it's not me using anything where
Yeah,
but they choose to use, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them take care of that.
So,
And
that's fine,
we'll
but all
pay
that,
them the money.
all that should be incorporated into the offer to purchase.
Got it. I think I have it. Vacant land offer to purchase form.
Yes,
Got it.
Approved state of Wisconsin offer to purchase.
right, which you could easily find online.
Great.
If you have problems, I can help you find it.
Okay, I guess we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase agreement with Whisker contingent upon the city attorney's review and approval. No further questions? Roll call vote, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Bowie,
Aye.
Chapman,
I will have to abstain because I work for you.
Evans,
Aye.
Justman,
Aye.
Rungy.
Aye.
Resolution 23, 2025 has passed. Anything else from CDA? Not that I recall. I think that was the main topic of conversation, right, Doug?
Yes, that was the whole night, I believe, yeah.
And Mike has offered up anytime any of the council members would like a tour of the facility.
Bob can give it to you, yes.
Prior to council meeting night or prior to committee, and he'll make arrangements to have somebody there to walk us through, so.
Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Mike.
Have a good meeting.
Next we have Recreation Committee. Jane's
Recreation
first
Committee?
meeting is chairperson.
Yeah, correct. We did meet on May 21st. Some of the highlights were that our new director, Harnett, is looking into adding a Wild Goose Park soccer area for storage and soccer equipment. And when that was being discussed, Mayor Wagner mentioned the idea of, as long as we're gonna build a shed, why not make it a concession stand, multi-purpose, for the field amenities and increase revenues for the soccer program. And we will have on the next agenda, summer help. And we told us some of the programs. T-ball started on June 12th. There's 18 participants so far. And I really want to, Carnets gave an overview of cleanup efforts from Saturday, May 17th, the soccer community volunteers helping to get the park cleared. There were over 60 volunteers between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. who assisted in cutting down fallen trees, moving logs, brush, picking up debris, and hauling items to the compost site. Thank you letters were sent out to all the volunteers to put their address down on the waiver, so there could have been more than that even, but it was an awesome event coming together to help clean up that area. Like Jim Runge said, there were so many that came together to help clean up, so just wanted to make sure to mention that, and that is all I have.
Questions for recreation? Moving on, utility commission. Doug?
Yeah, there was actually two meetings. There was a special meeting on the 27th to go over the stuff for the tornado. There was a review and discussion of office hours that were changed 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. But the big thing was a review and discuss the tornado reports from Nick, which Nick did a very good job. I'd like to add, provided a detailed report of the timeline of events where the tornado touched down, what it took out. It was rated an F2 tornado. I guess I didn't know that. I thought it was a 1, but it hit Juneau on the 15th. Nick is the one that contacted the 8 networks. 10 communities assisted. I don't have a list here of which communities they all were, but I'd like to thank them all, that's for sure. They assisted through the night and the next day. And many of the costs, restoration, reclaimment, and services will be covered by insurance. City Hall was applying for FEMA funds, but we found out earlier that we're not going to get them, correct?
Not those, but we sent some disaster fund, hopefully.
Okay. Alex and his crew from WWTP were also there. They came in to monitor functions for the wastewater treatment plant, water tower, and wells. And DPW helped with debris cleanup. That was for the meeting on the 27th. Then we had a regular meeting on June 2nd. Approved vouchers, consumption losses, no disconnects that month due to tornadoes. We received thank you notes for the scholarships that were handed out. 300 letters are going out to customers who are eligible for time of day usage rates. I'm not sure what that's all about exactly, but I'll let you know if I get a letter, I guess. Electric superintendent tornado recovery report. They did have to do some work on one of the transformers. They had to put the bushings in. Went smoothly. The old fence was taken out and new fence was installed. We're still waiting for S&C to give an official recommendation on whether to replace the transruptor so we can do an insurance claim. Estimate was $19,000. East Oak Street, new light poles went up, and Miller Street and North Street. Let's see, ATC project, we'll be calling J&R to come finish. They had to leave because of the tornadoes, but they'll be coming back. Industrial substation expansion has been put on hold. That's the ATC project, I'm assuming, correct? All right. Has been put on hold. But is still moving forward with the construction agreement. PSC has taken about a year to review the approval and not force us to commit. Outage on June 1st. Oh, the outage on June 1st, a raccoon climbed up the pole on North Fairfield, affected about 335 customers. And we received the Gold Award category for safety. Only about 20 members out of 81 received the gold, and we were one of them that received it. Wastewater superintendent, the 24 compliant maintenance manual. We received all A's on all items except for the ammonia treatment, which they've been working on issues since last year. Discussed the possibility of the purchase of a hydrant buddy. I believe we voted on that and we did pass that. That's a tool to help open the hydrants, open and close the hydrants instead of having to do it by hand. It's a Milwaukee power tool. Driveway at WWTP was poured a small section of concrete. Last portion of roofing was completed. Redoing some landscaping. Troy came to first for the power outage, took the generator to lifts 1 and 4 to run pumps, did a great job, continue to grade the sampling sites. They still need 5 more locations. So if anybody's got a house that was built in the 70s, and you don't have something that's hooked up to a water softener that gets used regularly, they can use water samples. I don't know if anybody's got anything. Ours was that old, but we don't have anything that's not hooked up to a water softener. Implemented team viewer software. I believe that's what Jim was talking about for the sewer there by Quick Trip. That's got plugs and everything else in it. Commissioners. Nick added that WPPI will be at the August meeting to give their annual presentation. Nick requested that we send thank you letters to mutual aid communities to be signed by the utility president and the mayor. I think that would be a good idea. Did you probably already know that?
Signed them this afternoon.
Okay,
Or yes-
all right.
No, I take that back, yesterday. At least a dozen.
Mayor made comments about how we appreciate how everybody came together. Praise Nick. Yes, Nick did a very good job. I'm very impressed with the young man myself. And city's power's back on much sooner than expected. I think ours came on within 4 hours after we went out. It was unbelievable. So people kind of worried. And that's about all I got to report on that.
Good report.
Thanks.
Richard, you got anything to add?
No, that was a pretty good report.
Okay, any questions for the utility?
See none?
We got some resolutions.
Resolution, yes.
Resolution 24, 2025, approved compliance maintenance annual report. Okay, whereas the Utility Commission is required to complete the compliance maintenance annual report, and whereas the Common Council shall be made aware of findings in compliance maintenance report as shown as Exhibit A. Now therefore to be resolved that the Common Council and the City of Juneau hereby inform the Department of Natural Resources that the following actions have been taken by the City of Juneau. The City of Juneau Common Council and the Juneau Utility Commission have reviewed the compliance maintenance report, which is attached to the resolution, and no additional actions are necessary to maintain influent requirements. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of June 2025. My motion.
Second.
Motion by Doug, second by Richard. Any further discussion? This is the annual report card. As they said earlier there, we did very well, exception of one area, but as a whole, new plant is up and running, and I think it should serve us for quite a long time, and I think it was quite impressive on how they mended the old into the new, and I don't think anybody sitting around this table is gonna have to look at another upgrade, so.
Don't ever say never.
Unless a tornado comes through. So anyway, with that being said, roll call vote, please.
Lee,
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Chapman.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Justin.
Aye.
Berkey.
Aye.
Resolution 24, 2025 is passed. One more, Doug.
Well, where's that at? After report,
Yep, way at the end.
like page 99. That's a long report.
Richard, you wanna read that one?
Sure.
Oh, you already got it? I got it. I got it here. You want me
You got it already?
I'm there now.
Go for it.
Is it resolution 25, 2025?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
Approved to
one.
amend personnel policy handbook, paid time 201 hours of work?
Yes.
Whereas the utility personnel committee have reviewed the personal policy Handbook, Section 201, hours of work as shown as Exhibit A. And whereas the Utility Personnel Committee recommends replacing the current wording as follows: utility office employees shall receive 20-minute paid lunch. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendations. I motion passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of 2025. I motion for pass.
Motion by Lee, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Runge, any further discussion?
My only concern is if somebody wants to come in and pay their utility bill on a Friday when they get paid.
Oh, no, that's not for this. They're there 8 to 4. Or 4 to, they're there from 8 to 4 every day, but they're getting a 20-minute paid lunch. They're not leaving the
Oh, okay.
office.
All right.
They're not leaving the office.
Gotcha.
Prior to this, their hours would have been 7:30 to 4.
I see.
And they would have taken
Gotcha.
half an hour lunch.
Gotcha.
But it's Monday through Friday, 8 hours.
Okay.
I think that's just the field guys that do the great 9-hour days and then a short day on Friday. Okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. I have a motion and a second on that?
Yeah, right,
Okay.
Lee and
Roll
Runge.
call vote.
Lee,
Aye.
Runge,
Aye.
Chapman,
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Foodie,
Aye.
Justman.
Aye.
Resolution 25, 2025 is passed. Anything else from utility to report? Any old business? Any new business? Approved provincial licenses for 45 days. Patricia Hartman, their approval for that.
Move to approve the license for Patricia Hartman.
Motion by Foodie, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Justman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve regular bartender's license. Jan, you wanna run through them?
Sure.
It's your department.
Approved regular bartender licenses for 2025. They expire June 30th, 2026. Patrice Hartman, Cecilia Scott, Donna Walter, Crystal Bettany, Rebecca Grady, Ashley Peterman, Rochelle Muse, Brandon Stager, Ashley Edwardson, Sandra Smith, Brenda Croken, Kylie Genrich, Richard Nails, Kyle Mead, Stephanie Cox, Robert Haas, Carol Solner, Derek Kotlowski, Amber Pazick, Elizabeth Hathaway, Travis Thorpe, Jenna Butler, John Hatter, Jeanette Merkis, Haley Malone, Don Renning, Edward Spitz, Jeremy Mason, Deidre Houlihan, Andrea Horner, Charles Dinger, Carly Wilbilliard, Tracy Marthalia Scott, Jennifer Doe, Jay Trad, Kimberly Pinkert, Della Shoppy, Janessa Knoll, Daniel Yankee, Corey Runge, Bethany Ballas, Jacob Longora, Latrice Vizuski, Donna Chase, Jake Siegel, Catherine Baumgartner. I recommend to approve these bartenders' licenses for 2025 that expire June 30th, 2026.
Motion by Foodie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chapman. No, other than the 7 of us that reside in this town, are the only ones left that don't have bartenders' licenses. No other questions, roll call vote, please.
Foodie,
Aye.
Chapman,
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Wait, yeah, Evans, sorry, Justman,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Runge.
Aye, except for an abstain for Cory. Never mind, might make money and buy me a good Father's Day gift. He thought I was getting bribed.
Okay, no further items to discuss, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Motion by Runge,
Second.
second by Justman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This meeting is closed.